We have also some practice. Let's see if I can do these lectures fairly quick. So please forgive me. This probably was the first mantra that we needed to study, but we have so many mantras and yeah, go over this mantra session because it's really beautiful. As you can see, we are always introducing a new mantra for you. This is part of traditional yoga, and we're going to study a little bit the symbolism of Om. So let's start reading this.
Oh, 388.
So it's on primary mantra Om.
387
Oh,
Start reading.
387.
Let then everyone find the page.
387.
387. So who wants to start reading? Maybe go like this and just everyone can do a little.
In the yoga tradition, Om is the supreme mantra, the most sacred of holy words. Although it is first found in the spiritual writings of Hinduism, Om is used by Buddhists and Jains in their rituals and meditation, and has also passed over into the Jewish, Christian, and Muslim religions in the form of Amen, which is intoned at the end of all prayers, and in Christianity is even a title of Christ. Each thing saith the Amen, the faithful and true witness, the beginning of the creation of God. Revelation 3:14.
Okay, next.
In the yoga tradition, Om is the supreme mantra, the most sacred of holy words. This sacred syllable is spelled out either as Om or Om, but it is usually written in the ideogrammatic forms. It is most important in repeating Om to pronounce the O correctly. It should be pronounced like the long O in the Italian or common American manner, as in home and bone. In England, Canada, and parts of the American South, the long O is sometimes pronounced as a diphthong, like two vowels jammed together, either like A-O or F-O. This is not the correct manner of pronouncing the O, which should be a single pure vowel. Om is more effective if it is mentally intoned, that is, mentally sung on a single note. The pitch does not matter, whatever is spontaneous and natural.
So sorry. Are you okay?
Yeah, should I move?
Oh! Yeah, you're like in a position here.
I like my spot. I'll take my chances.
Okay. Sorry about that. You can continue.
This makes the repetition stronger and of deeper effect, because intoning Om unifies the mind and naturally concentrates it. Om should be intoned giving full value to both the O and the M. That is, Om should be intoned with equal time on both letters.
You need to be over-exaggerating about this. Oh, sorry. But approximately so. The way to receive the benefit of a mantra is japa, the continual repetition, intonation of the mantra. In this way, the invoker is constantly imbued with the power and consciousness inherent in the mantra.
So japa is when you use the mala beats. Yeah? And we also had mentioned what mantra is. Ma from manas, from the mind, and tra liberation. So you can just sit and use those beats that have usually 108, which is a sacred number, and you just use the beats. And that's called japa, when you use the mala, the beats. And so, yeah, you will have some people that we're doing very nice ohms together, which is, thank you, very nice, but we do sometimes have like, oh, in the class, or oh, and you're like, definitely put the tone for your students. You can put the tone, and it can be lower chakras, like more like a Tibetan, or you can be more anahata, more sweet and loving. It comes from like the lungs and this prana area. So you have the right to do that. You can also ask the students, let's hear each other and kind of like match the same sound. So like that. So let's continue.
The word Shankara. Commenting on Patanjali's statement, his spoken form is Om, says, this sutra explains the form in which the devotee contemplates on him. According to Madhukaya Upanishad, that which existed, exists, and will exist is nothing but Om. The Hindu scriptures state that Om is God, and its melody invokes the presence of the divine within us and outside of us. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. Om is that word.
This is the seed sound for the Ajna Chakra, located at the third eye center, which contains the principle of unity, since masculine and feminine energies meet at the third eye point. Om transcends past, present, and future, and envelops all of them simultaneously. It is the supreme state of being, offers peace, generates strength, extinguishes worry, and protects and guides us during the states of waking, dreaming, and deep sleep. It also purifies and awakens the force of our physical, causal, and subtle bodies.
Om draws our mind inward, purifies our environment, cleans the sight, and connects the soul to the universal consciousness. It is the source of all yantras, mantras, and mandalas. Om draws our mind inward.
Alright, things repeating. The benefits of Om.
Benefits of Om. There are countless benefits to chanting the sacred mantra Om. The vibratory effect on the body is very clear. The sound frequency found within the Om represents the sound total of all possible sound. And since in Sanskrit the sounds are related to states and consciousness, this means that within the Om exists a pathway to reach the highest states.
The sound of Om has a relaxing effect on all the cells of the body. Oms bring the mind into focus on our area for chanting with meditation. Oms calm the mind and balance the mental energies. Oms have an integrating effect on the class. They bring the room together in harmony. Oms bring spiritual energy to the room. Make sure always that students are harmonizing with your Oms. It is fine to instruct the group to make sure they are harmonizing with you.
Okay, so you can mark it down. Benefits of Om. That's going to be a question on your reading test. So that will be the question. What are the benefits of Om? And yeah, that's the answer. You can also, come up with your own words. So Om is the primordial sound, is the seed sound of everything. And we also mentioned this before, is the first expression of God, right? So when Purusha and Prakriti merge, they create a friction, a vibrational zzz, like that, like an electricity. And then that vibration, that frequency was on. Then after that, everything started being created. First the layers of the mind, right? Then the qualities of Prakriti, the gunas, Sattva, Raja, and Tamas. and then the Janindriyas and the Karmendriyas, the senses, the six senses, and the actions of the senses, and then from Tamas, which was more dense, the Tanmatras, which again, these elements that we are working and we see everywhere. So everything really comes from this Om, and you see that today I didn't start with the Om. I'm like, all right, let's go into it, because if I need to call God, we also talk about that. I wanted to spend some time on purifying my mind and heart to repeat these sacred names. I don't want to just call Jesus or Buddha and call them to my house and then I leave and I'm not there. That's an offense, right? And then I think it's one of the religions say, you should not use the name of God in vain, something like that. So it is basically, if you were going to chant Om and we're like, let's go, and I just left it for the very end when we did all the chakras and the mantras like that. But so if you have that time, when you chant Om, it's like saging the whole space, right? You're cleansing the whole space, including your mind and the student's mind. It has this divine magical effect. If it has any type of negativity in the room or inappropriate feelings of anyhow, you're just calling God to help you with that, and your classes will be more powerful, more magical, more transcendental, because you're not just I am the teacher, you're not just getting gratification like you are the star, but you again allowing yourself to become that vessel and channel, and you will feel the channels when they happen. You get all kind of goosebumps, like angels are around you, and they whisper things, and you're just like, okay, you just allow that magic to happen. So besides that, is very traditional, right? Very traditional. In India, everyone always start and finish with some sort of Om. So you guys can finish reading this later. We're going to just turn the page and move to the symbolism of Om. So you have the Om on your book, and let's just take a look on what does it mean, each thing here. So this is kind of like making like a big number 3, right? With this tail. So let's take a look on the symbolism. Okay, let's go part by part, and you can write if it has, of course, has more information here than in your manual. So the first thing here, we're going to see the dot. That dot in Samkhya philosophy represents Purusha, super consciousness. If you're welcome to move in front of here, take a picture. I asked if you guys want me to move. I don't know if you can see it from there, but you can see the dot. The dot of the Om. That is Purusha, or in Vedanta that would be super consciousness, which is we also call like Samadhi or Nirvana if it was Buddhism, right? Kind of also saying different things. So the dot is the male principle. Then that other one, that the little kind of comma right under, that is the womb of Prakriti. So Purusha is fertilizing her womb. Fertilizing. And so here we put Prakriti. That is in what? Samkhya philosophy. Remember that we say that in Samkhya philosophy was the male and the female. Purusha, super consciousness, has God, and Prakriti, Pachamama, Mother Earth, has the Divine Mother. So there's two components. But in Vedanta, it's only Brahman, only one, and what doesn't let us have that realization that all is God and nothing but God and only God is real, everything isn't real, everything is impermanent, is something called Maya. So that would be the interpretation for that. Maya is that veil, right, that you put on top of the lamp, and the lamp is golden, but with the veil you think it's red, because it's a red veil. And then we are all the time under that Maya veil, and sometimes we are like blue and sad, and like sometimes we're like just upset, and just those constant changes, which again, they're not real, they're emotions, they're victories, they come and go. So that's what is representing here. So the combination of these two aspects, or in this case, and in Vedanta, just one aspect, what doesn't allow us to have the God realization is the illusion, layers of incorrect understanding. And once we start peeling that onion, right, I'm not my body, I'm not just Annamaya Kosha, I'm just Pranamaya Kosha, my energy comes and goes. One day I'm super strong, the other day I just want to go under the bed, you know, that probably is not me neither. And then I'm definitely not my mind, I'm not just my rational, my analytical, my intellect. Wisdom, yes, we all have as the years go by, but I'm not just that. You know, and then you start coming closer, and then you got the Anandamaya Kosha. When you get to Anandamaya Kosha, you start having symptoms of the personality of God, you know, which also we mentioned, and get familiar with the term Sat Chit Ananda, full of knowledge, full of happiness, bliss, and joy eternal. That's who we are, because God is like that, and we are made of His semejanza, His mirror effect. And what doesn't allow us to have that understanding is Maya. You know, she's covering our eyes. That's why, you know, it gets to a moment in your life that no matter how much studies you have and how many teachers or gurus or lineages, you just need to come to that realization that you don't need to become anything, because you already are that thing. You are so humble. God is within you, and you are that source of infinite love and compassion. We just don't remember, because we've been covered with so many different illusions. So that is the dot and here, and I really like that, you know, like it's so sacred, you know, how sacred is the relationship of the two energies, right? Of the female and the male, or the sun and the moon. Sun and the moon is in Hatha Yoga, we talk about that. And in Tantra will be Shiva and Shakti. So as you see, it's all the same. This is different darshans, different interpretations of the different lineages and school. Then we have the first curve, which is the A. So the Om, yes, you can just say Om with the O. Giving equal importance to the Om and the M. But some you're going to see A-U-M, and it's also correct. And you can okay, it's kind of different ones. Different ones then. So first curve. And that first curve is going to be represented by Shiva and Shakti. And they represent Tamas. So Shiva, he's right there, he's also there in the altar, but Shiva we talk about, he is the god that represents transformation or destruction on this Trinity in Hinduism. And one of the things that I really felt like, wow, this is really nice, because all the gods have their goddesses. I felt like, it was a fair thing, to put us in there. But he's considered the Lord of Yoga. So all these Upanishads coming from him on higher power, And then, of course, if you have anything that you want to transform in your life, or anything that you wanna let go. Let's say you have a habit or something that you just like, you don't want to be part of your life. Then it's definitely you want to associate yourself with Shiva. And if you want to be an advanced yogi, Shiva is also the one going to bless you with that. We mentioned that he has the Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya, very sweet, very nice for meditation. And the Mahamrityunjaya mantra, which is the long, Maha means big, so the long mantra of Shiva, which you don't need to worry about that until you get really comfortable with that Om Namah Shivaya first. Om Trayambakam Jajamahe Sugandhim Pushivardhanan Urvarukam Vibhavantanan Vetriyom Shiyam Amritam. And then he has Shakti, which is another name is Parvati. When I was telling the story about Ganesha, I mentioned that Parvati was in her temple and Shiva was meditating like 10,000 years in the Himalayas. So they always have the female partner. Shakti is another name for all this female power. When we say Shakti, we refer to the female energy. But through the different eras and the different reincarnations, they have, they re-encounter, because love is eternal, they re-encounter with different bodies, in different times. And so here is Shakti. I think I sent an image of you guys when you have half Shiva, half Shakti. And we are also like that. We are also female and male. And because of Shiva, I call him the punk rock in Hinduism, because he has a bunch of rastas all coiled up here. And I told you that he covers his body with ashes of dead people. It becomes gray. He smokes ganja all day long. He's the Shivaya. So it's like kind of like a tamasic energy, like a little bit dense, like heavy, right? So, with all my respect, of course.
Yeah.
Is that why the sadhus cover themselves in ashes too?
Yeah, they're called Shivayas.
Shiva.
Shivayas, they worship Shiva. And then Shiva gives them siddhis, superpowers. So, and also look at the destruction, so we put it's a tamasic time. The beautiful thing about the Om is that everything is inside the Om. Like you have the times of the day, of every day, you have the seasons of the cycles of your life, and all the gods and goddesses, everything is inside the Om. So it's very powerful, this mantra, So another representation here is that deep sleep, when it's very similar to samadhi in a way, because it's the absence of ego, like you don't even know that you exist, because you're like in a coma, right? There's no dreams, it's nothing. You're just deep sleep, right? Very like a rock, like a Damascus rock. You don't even know that you are there. You don't know. And again, we talk about the gunas in a way that not to be judgmental. They're just qualities from this world, and we always need, the three of them in different levels. And of course, if you don't have tamas, then you will not be able to stay still. You will not be able to sleep. You will not be able to rest, because you need that heaviness to all right, you just stay still and read a book, or go to sleep, or chill, right? So we need that tamas, that inertia, density, and we're going to study more than inertia are made of. And how do you got the image here of that as well? And then the bottom curve is the U, and that is represented by the creator, Brahma. And he has goddess is Sarasvati. We also have Sarasvati there next to Krishna. Sarasvati is someone that you want to connect right now because she is the goddess of learning. She is the goddess of arts, singing, music. She has a sitar, huge sitar, and everything that is artistic, right? Learning, knowledge, dancing, singing, music. So you wanna find an image of her, you know. These Hindu goddesses and gods are like so beautiful, so rich.
So much detail.
So much detail. They're meant for you to meditate, right? So if you get familiar with one of those images, let's say Sarasvati, right? You will really, when you chant Sarasvati mantras, then you will really see the goddess in front of you, and see the details. And then of course you get what we call boom. You will get more auspiciousness from her, and it's important, when you're going to study or also teach, like, hey, give me a hand, please, right?
Isn't she also wisdom? Goddess of wisdom?
Yeah, learning, wisdom, knowledge. Yeah, that's exactly. She also has the Vedas. They have like many arms. So she is holding the sitar with one. She has the Vedas in the other one. She has like another kind of like a paint things that they paint. So she has all those arms. Again, you get more familiar with that. If I didn't put any image from her, she also has she has the scriptures, like actually a roll, and then she has the beads, from mantra. Brahma has 3 heads, but he had like I'm not gonna get into the story now, but he had like an issue with, I think, Vishnu, and they kind of like punish him, and you cannot find forms of Brahma to be worshipped. Now if you say I worship Brahma, it's going to be more into the abstract, which is also good, because not everyone likes those images, and and in a way it's also, again, limit, because if your God is omnipresent and in all shapes and form, it's unfair to say that God has Jesus form or Buddha form or Krishna form and that's it. Now God is all the forms, all of them, but because in Bhakti Yoga, when you should develop a relationship, so sometimes it's hard, and let me visualize God like all the 30 trillion millions of galaxies and stars and planets and the suns. It has many suns, apparently Sirius is bigger than the sun and all this. Oh my God, it's hard to grasp, right? But if you have an image, then you can have more content. But Brahma is the responsible for creating, that's what I found very super cool actually, that has so many millions of galaxies. And we are like in one, and we all have a few planets here, has millions and trillions of galaxies like ours, probably other beings, and when we talk about other species, maybe they are more advanced, maybe they don't have legs, they're just pure heart and a heart that just floating around. There's no disease, they just live from solar power, and again, our mind is hard to grasp into those concepts unless you have the alien visiting you inside the room, like it happened in Sedona with me. I don't know. But we gotta have that open mind. So Brahma is the balance, right? They're going to be creating those worlds. It says that every time that he excels, a new galaxy is born. He excels galaxies. Here goes 100 planets. So imagine, it's like and it's just that. But Brahma and Sarasvati, so because he's creating all this energy, all this activity, we're going to call this like Rajas. Rajas is that energy based on movement and activation, right? And also during the day, this will be our waking state when we are doing things with our eyes open and, you know, going to the store, coming to the school, you know, we're moving and being in action. And sometimes I have a little fun because maybe you have your eyes open, but you're not even there, you know, like has that, you know, you're turned off inside, baby, what, you know, so it's important to be awake, but like embrace that you are, you know, awake and present, you know, not like, you know, going to cross the street with the cell phone and, you know, go to the market and just to do things on your shopping cart without even reading what is the substance that is on the product. So not just being functional and moving, but like being present, you know, in your actions. And I ask you guys to choose a piece of the Bhagavad Gita to share with the group. We probably want to do it tonight because on Wednesday we have, you know, readings on the Gita by Swami Didi, and you might, you know, but Krishna is talking about the, you know, karma yoga there to be one of the first things that we need to do for enlightenment. You know, we have Patanjali with the Yoga Sutras and the study of the mind, and Krishna said, no, forget it. To conquer the mind is so hard. It's like a hard animal to control. But if you do karma yoga, right? If all the actions that you're performing during the day, even if you have a corporate job or whatever, you know, of course you need, you know, some money, but you can take it like, okay, with this action, with this labor, I can be a better service to my community, right? I can buy wholesome foods and organic foods, so I preserve the temple of the divine, so I can become a real vessel. So everything that you do in this material world can become an act of yoga if you detach yourself from the fruits of the action, and, you know, think that everything is for a divine purpose. You know, then everything, each thing, cooking and cleaning and everything becomes an act of yoga. So, yeah.
Can we turn that off now? It's giving me epilepsy.
Yeah, because of the light.
Flashing.
Oh, we know what you call it.
Yeah, because of the light, right?
Yeah, it makes me so much.
Yeah. That's it. It happened with me too.
You can still see it now.
No, it's
It's just flashing.
Oh, it's just that flash.
See the shadow.
Alright, we're moving real fast here.
I don't think that's all.
It's
I
coming
think it
to
has one more.
one
click.
close.
Yeah, that should be it.
Okay, so Brahma and Sarasvati. So Brahma again, his formulas, you will not find a statue of Brahma in India where people go worship Brahma like they do with Shiva or with Krishna or with Buddha. So if you feel like you connect more with that aspect of God, but he's the light of the sun, he is in the stars, he's the wind on the trees, you know, maybe that's great. That's, you know, the creator force, the creator principle. And moving forward, we have the M, and this M is going to be represented by Vishnu. Now, Vishnu is the same as Krishna. So we have like a boar, then we have a turtle, then we have Vishnu, then we have Krishna, then we have Ram, then we have Buddha, then we have Jesus. They are called the avatars, the good guys. So there are many, no? Like each 1,000 years, one comes out. They're the same person. So in that Vishnu is that avatars that are coming to preserve us, you know, and how they're going to preserve us. They're always the same message: love all, forgive all, help all, do good, be good, right? Like kind of the same different message over and over again. So you know, Vishnu, Krishna, Jesus, Buddha, same person, different times, different bodies, different names. And then I think I did send to you in the image where Vishnu is laying down this huge snake of many heads, which they say that is a reincarnation of Patanjali. The name of that snake is Ananda, and Vishnu is laying on this snake, and Lakshmi is the goddess of abundance or prosperity, and she's washing his feet, you know, and again, like a bhakti yoga, like let me serve you, right? Now, Lakshmi is right there too. She has many arms, like all those goddesses has many arms, and from her arms has coins of gold falling. So prosperity, abundance, what that means to us, it can be, you know, abundance of health, it can be abundance of love, you know, feeling yourself beloved, but it's also related with money. And you know, it doesn't matter how spiritual you are, you also need to, you know, have a peaceful relationship with money because it's a currency. And I have a funny story here with Lakshmi, which happened with me. It was very special. So 5 years ago, we just moved here to this place, and it was in the summertime. It was super slow, you know, and I was, you know, low in money. And so I decided that I was going to do a 30 days puja to Lakshmi, to that same Lakshmi that I had in my house. So I said, okay, Lakshmi, let's get together, girl. And so I, very feminine, very loving, you know, like she's a goddess, you know, you gotta, again, kind of like open a little bit that perspective and feel, because it's always about the intention of, and the frequency of what you're putting, right? So I just treat her like a goddess, okay? And every day I will bathe her, I will pick up flowers in the sidewalk, and I will put her every day, because it was a 30 days puja. So it was a 30 days that I was going to say, you know, I'm low in money, low in work, and I need your help, and I will, you know, let's just help each other. So then I will put flowers, I will put, you know, fresh water, I will every day put an incense, and then her mantra is Om Shri Lakshmi Swaha, or Om Shri Lakshmi Namaha, you know, Shri Lakshmi. So I will do 108, and I will chant for her with very feminine energy. You know, like she is there alive, and she's a goddess, and I'm just decorating her, and, you know, very loving. So that's what I was doing for 1 month. Before that, so rewinding 3 years before that, we were in the other center in Espanola Way, and this Kundalini teacher that was a lawyer, he asked me if I want to invest in the stock market, and you know, that he basically will create a company, right? He created a company of silver jewelry, and he said, if you want to, you know, buy the company now, you can buy 100 shares for 0.00001, and you get 100 shares, and then you will have ownership of this company, and then I will put the company in the stock market, someone will buy, and then you get your money back. And he was a Kundalini teacher, and he was a lawyer. I'm like, sounds good, sure. So he was like, okay, minimum to invest is $10,000. And I'm like, all right, fine, I trust you. And then he said, okay, but you need to be aware that you're not going to get your money back until we really find, you know, a good buyer that can convert the money. So that was like 3 years ago. And a lot of people told me, no, he ran away with your money and it's been 3 years and he never called you and he probably took your money from you. And I just pretended the money was in this Kundalini savings account of some sort, right? I did kind of forgot because I trust so full on, he has yamas and niyamas and he has ethics, so I should be just fine. So after 2 weeks, 3 years later, I'm like broke. So after 3 weeks that I'm doing the Lakshmi Puja, he calls. Hi, Victoria, what's up? How are you? Satnam. I'm like, Satnam, how are you? It's been so long, it's been 3 years. What's up with you? I thought you died or something. No, I moved out of Florida. I'm in Wisconsin. But good news, look, we have a buyer that is interested in the company. Do you want to sell it? I'm like, sell. No problem, yeah. And he was an attorney, so I already have given a power of attorney, so to do whatever, just get it in my back. And he's like, okay, fine, I just wanted to consult with you. I'm like, okay, great. So, in literally the final 30 days, I got, an envelope in the mail. That was the check from selling this company that I had invested with the Kundalini guy 3 years ago. And it was one of the biggest checks of my life. It was $30,000. I need to cut a picture. I'm like, oh my God, actually, more flowers. What's ice cream, sweets, whatever you want, girl. That happened 4 years ago. Yes. So little story there. So again, it can, in the beginning, like when I started going to the temples and in India, when I saw Jesus bleeding on the cross in Brazil, and I'm like, oh, pobrecito, poor Jesus, But then I started mixing with Hinduism, right? And see all those goddesses and all these gods, and you don't know, you're new, you just don't know. But if you open your mind and you do the practice with full presence, full love, full intention, things happen. Mm-hmm. And this is one of them. So it was really cool. It was 30 days of worshiping Lakshmi, the goddess of prosperity, and she got me the biggest check ever after 30 days of clock. It was basically like 24 hours before the end date, I even offered the check, on the altar. I'm like, just keep it for some time for you, think this is your check. So, yeah. And because Vishnu is that, Vishnu represents Krishna. Again, trying to read a little bit. I have some books which we call pastimes, like a cartoon kind of thing. But Vishnu is the good guy, he is the sweet, means the most attractive one, the most charming. He has 16,000 girlfriends. Not one or two, 16,000 girlfriends. Like a bit naughty, Krishna. But he doesn't have, sex with them. He has what we call loving pastimes. So he goes on to the waterfall with you, and then he goes swimming with you, and then he's stealing butter with you, and then he's fixing your hair, and then you guys are taking care of the cows together, because it's loving pastimes, loving actions. So because he's so sweet, he is in the mood of sattva. He's always sweet. He's always so loving, so that's why he has this type of guna, And so, Krishna, I know how, when you see the Hare Krishna's ball with the orange clothes chanting, you're like, oh my God, these people, that is so much wisdom that comes from Krishna. Just the Bhagavad Gita is one of the first scriptures before the Bible, before the Yoga Sutras. Okay, so in the Bhagavad Gita has so much information about, karma yoga, jnana yoga, how to overcome the ego, how to overcome the mind. I mean, so, but what happens? He gave us an expression that is very tangible, right? He shows up as a cowboy, as a cow herd, right? He takes care of the cows and the field. So God is simple, simple life, and He does miracles. Sometimes He's a baby. He's actually adopted. There's another. I love to see all this how do you say this, Hinduism and this not philosophy, mythology. It always have secret meanings. Like not necessarily as exact as it is, but has a secret, like hiding messages for us. And so, who saved him was also Lakshmi. You can visit this place, which is between Vrindavan and Mathura, and it was announced that an avatar was going to come to the world, because again, when the kings, like we see the government, they get so greedy by power and so much corruption, and it's like an evil energy. So this has happened from the times are the times, and it's always like a happening, right? And so it was announced that the seventh child of the king's sister was going to be the one that defeated him. That was an avatar, So what he did in the middle of like a public thing, like he almost killed this king, almost killed his own sister in front of everyone. When he found out this news, they have the rishis, the man that can see the future, the man of wisdom, and told him this is what's going to happen. He was going to kill his sister in front of everyone, and then someone told him, "No, king, if you kill your own sister in front of everyone, you're going to lose popularity." You know what I mean? Because that's terrible, very bloody, like a tirano. So he's like, "Oh yeah, maybe you're right, it's not good for politics." So he put his sister in jail with her husband, and in a jail made of stone, and every time that she had a baby, they will kill the baby or take the baby away. And so then comes, I think it was the sixth baby or something like that, and so the baby is born and it's Krishna, right? And so Lakshmi appears in the cell and take the baby of another woman called Yasoda in the town, away from the kingdom, and switch the babies, because it was said it was a male, right? It was a male. So every time it was a male baby, they will kill it. That's terrible. So then another baby is born, and Lakshmi, this goddess, she switched the babies, and so when the king comes to the cell ready to kill, so her sister begged, saying, "No, please, it's just a girl, don't do anything. She's harmful. She's a girl. What she can do to defeat you, And then he had mercy, okay, because it's not going to be a boy, it's going to be a girl, and he kind of left, and they, in this kind of like transition, they put Krishna in a basket, como has another avatar that happened the same, I think it's Solomon or Moses.
Yeah.
They put in a basket down the river, and then Krishna ended up in the town. And so they swept the babies, and they didn't realize it was a girl or boy, because they're just so baby. Sometimes they look kind of the same, and so the mother was like, "I think I got confused. I think it's a boy then." Because they enchant her, like some type of magic, like she will not realize the babies got switched. So then Krishna was raised by an adopted mother, And so very much early in age, they noticed that he had special skills and powers, and again, it's all symbolic. Here comes Krishna to give an example of what he can God do for love, right? God will shape himself to receive whatever love you give him. And so for that, he just became a child for his mom. His mom, he was a baby, and even though he was one of the high personalities of God. And one time, he was playing on the door, for example. He has hundreds of stories, of course, but this is, so the baby sometimes it was eating dirt, and so here comes Yasoda running, don't eat the dirt, dirty. And then she opens Krishna's mouth to take the dirt out of his mouth, and inside his mouth, she sees all the galaxies and planets. And she falls back and faint. She's like, what? Yeah, wait a minute. So, he has many stories about this, and then, the wishes that advised the king told him, no, actually, this avatar was born, and he's going to come get you, and he's out there. So then they got a witch, and they sent this witch, and she's an evil witch, and she started breastfeeding all the babies in the village with poison. She just put. And so she finally came, all the babies, right? She came to Krishna, and Krishna basically sucked all the poison of her tits, and she died, many stories. So yeah, so you get it on and on. But it's very, again, he's like the most charming, everyone dies, and here is Vishnu and Lakshmi, but when you go to the reincarnation of Krishna, it will be Krishna and Radha. And then Radha, we also said that she has all the Shakti of all females, like she's the best dancer, she's the most sweet, she's the best cook, she's always impeccable, amazing, with fresh flowers in her hair, she's always forgiving, and all she wants to do, which is again is the meaning of bhakti, all she wants to do is be with Krishna and serve Krishna. And they are, even if he has 16,000 girlfriends, that is his favorite, right? Yeah. And so he gets also like mesmerized, because even though Krishna now, in his teenager form, now a baby teenager, he's the high personality of God, he cannot understand the amount of love that Radha has for him. He's like, I am the God of the universe. How come she can feel more love than I can feel? So he was all confused about that, because Radha, being again Prakriti, that feminine energy, she was able to experience much more love and serving Krishna than he can feel himself being God. That's why in Hinduism they have the goddesses up here, because the goddesses rule. It's really it's the goddess, and then the gods are like, okay, my dear, what are we doing here? They are the ones that they are the manifestors, right? So they are the ones that gather energy from the male and make things happen, basically. And then when you study more Bhakti, in 1800, in Mayapur, which is north of India, above Jagannath Puri, a new reincarnation appears. It's called the Golden Avatar, or the Golden One, and his name is Chaitanya. So in order for Krishna to even understand how come she loves me so much, I cannot love in that way. So he reincarnate together. So it's one person, Krishna and Radha together, and basically that's how Kirtan originated, because this avatar called Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he was the one that says, in order to come out of this Kali Yuga, of this time of, evil and iron, we must, this is the recipe, we must be a vegetarian, we must sing and dance the names of the divine. That's it. So you must dance the names of the divine, sing the names of the divine, and be vegetarian. That's it. Easy. And then in that bubble is when we get purified, right? We are listening divine names. We are eating blessed food offered to God. We are celebrating life. I mean, you're never going to see a Hare Krishna down. They're always like, they're celebrating, that calling the divine name. So really beautiful. And so that is a little bit here. And then here we have the dream state. The dream state is when you actually do have dreams at night. So you're not walking during the day. You're not in that deep sleep that is close to samadhi when it's dead. Here, you actually can have a lot of visions. We talk about something called astral projection, or lucid dreams. So if you are very centered and I guess rested, definitely not having screens and mirrors around your room can help you. But you can have out-of-body experience where your spirit leaves your body and you're sleeping. And it happened with me a few times. I remember flying, and the cool thing is like you're conscious. That's what we call lucid dream. So you're dreaming, you're dreaming, and inside the dream, like, I think I'm dreaming. I'm definitely dreaming. So then you go fast, and you go. So I will fly to Argentina, and I will go to my grandma's refrigerator. I don't know. So I'll go straight there. Like what grandma made. I think I had something with her food. And I will be walking like 3 a.m. I will be walking on my old town, but no one is there, just like a drunk guy and doggies. And I will just be walking. I will be in Miami, but I will astral project myself because I think I was homesick, and I will be there. And so super cool. I also had the experiences when I would be dreaming with something very significant, and then all of a sudden we get out and like, oh my god, it's like freaking moving. It's so intense and colorful. Drink some water, go back to sleep, and I continue the same dream. Like I'm moving, like put pause, and then you just. So it's very interesting when you can do in that dream state. And again, you might get a lot of insights and things like that. So, if you got to see yourself, your own body, out of your body, that's it. And of course, have books and more things that you can train yourself for these experiences. And I think a little bit of that we do when we do distance healing, when we do like Reiki, that is super interesting too. Someone has a headache or lower back pain in London, and you heal them from here. And then half an hour later, you say, so how you feel now? Pain's gone. So it's very magical about this quantum physics energy. But yeah, so be attentive to your dreams. One beautiful addition to your self is like if you had a dream, the moment you open your eyes, you get your diary and you write them, because 30 minutes later they will evaporate. And maybe you dream with animals, maybe sometimes I dream with the future, with things that are going to happen, or things that I need to be like aware. It's almost like you are in contact with that Mahat, with that kind of divine consciousness, because your ego is not so latent there. So yeah, interesting. So definitely things for you to press attention. So this is basically the symbolism of Om. As you can see, we have all the divine trinity with the gods and goddesses, not only the times of the day, but we mentioned that the goodness related with the cycles of life, right? When you are a baby, you're in bed, you're tamastic, and then you got to start walking, going to school and learning, and you're under rajas, becoming scholars, so much movement and work. And then finally, you just gather all that wisdom, and you go to sattva, when you are representing basically a more enlightened teacher with more wisdom, more better habits for your life. And that's of course when you become older perhaps. But everything contains on the Om. So if you never had done 108 rounds of just Om, that's a beautiful practice. It's beautiful experience for you to have. And when you do Om, is a direct connection with God. You're calling God. You're calling God, and then you're going to get God. God is going to, okay, I'm here now. Talk to me, So you just, if you feel like you need to connect with the divine realm, let's say, you've been pushed by your family with different religions in different times. Again, different countries have different tendency. And so you feel like, okay, I want to connect with that divine being. So Om, it will be, that's the door. Just Om, 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 and Om, and Om, Om, Om. And then you will get plugged back to the source again. Besides that, when you Om and you're humming, right, you're going to get that restorative system on as well. So you're just going to feel amazing. And when you do mantras, you can do in the Tantra way, we call it 3 ways. We call internal, external, and complete. So internal, I just repeat only inside myself, right? External, I vocalize and I'm Om. So my senses can hear. In a way, it's better for concentration, I would say, if you hear yourself chanting. And then complete is when you bring a visualization, right? So let's say, sometimes I lose my voice, so I will go, Om, 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 and then out of the sun I got dry mouths, which happens. In Shiva Kriya, they make us have a drop of ghee. If you're vegan, maybe, just warm water, no problem, coconut oil. I don't know. But because that your throat can get dry, especially singing and all that. So you can, go internal, go external, but complete is when you, let's say I'm chanting the Om, or let's say you're chanting the Gayatri mantra, which is the one that you will be tested on, and I visualize that, base of sun rays, just sun all over me, sun in the front, sun in the back, sun under me, sun in my crown chakra, sun in my heart, and I hold that image, or I just see the sun shining huge in front of me. So that's called complete, right? So I repeated the Gayatri, internal, also external, sometimes I hear my own sound, and then complete. As I repeat the Gayatri mantra, I visualize the sun. And that would be very powerful. And again, just what happened with Lakshmi, I don't know if you need some money. I definitely have, I'm studying psychology in Ayurveda together with Christina. And we always talk, how hard it is to have that dharana, that concentration and so, whatever is Sarasvati or Lakshmi, whatever mantra, whatever energy you want to invoke into your life, try to really practice, really juice it out, sit with it, sit on your silence with it, because only when you do it, you will have certain results. If you do it once a week, you will not have that many results. You will almost not have the results, you know. So if you really wanna, like, what happens if I chant the Ganesha mantra? I have a person at work that envies me, you know, that doesn't like me, is always sending me bad energy. So you chant 1 month, okay, I'm going to chant every day 108 Ganesha to remove this person has an obstacle of my career. You know, maybe they get transferred to another place, maybe they get fired, you know, but you can only come to, you know, your results when you actually do the practice. So then you have many energies of many mantras that you can play with it. And so
How are we supposed to hold it again? You said what fingers?
we do a meditation class, but we don't use this finger because this is the ahankar, this is the ego. Remember the layers of the mind? So you will, do it like that. You just don't touch with this here.
You mean with mala?
The mala, yeah.
Yeah.
The mala, which is like a rosary, Like again, if you're Christian, if you're Buddhist, whatever, in Tibet they have different malas. They have 3 dividers. It's a little bit different, but it's the same thing. It's a counter. I had a yogi that when you go to, I'm sure you did sometime when you go to the club and you have the security guy that can let so many people go in because the fire, and he has the counter, right? So they, instead using the mala, which of course is much nice Vedic, he will use that counter. And then he was all the time. Maybe he's finished yoga class and he has Mateo.
Yeah.
Remember?
Yeah.
Madhu. So he will finish class, already talked to everyone, and then he has 10 minutes there. And he's on the bench, maybe, just waiting for something, and he will start chanting, and boom, boom, boom. And he, will have the counter. So anytime when you're not doing anything, you are chanting. You're chanting. So this is where these bhakti yogis do. You're supposed to do 16 rounds of 108 when you get initiated in, like more officially, like okay. And then of course you do what you can, as much as you can. But again, in order for me to do the 16 rounds, I will definitely to wake up every day at 4 and sit with it for 2 hours. If you have a lot of that raja, a lot of that fire, cannot sit, then I walk on the beach. The other day a guru came. I was in Tibet, and we went to do what we call the Japa walk. So we went with the guru in the beach and with another 20 devotees all behind him. We're not chit-chatting, we're just chanting, we're just walking on the beach and chanting together. That's easier. I don't like that better. And I also did Buddhist practices, and my first Buddhist practices was, that was like 10 years ago. And I was not so much, now I'm building sattva, as I sit 10 years practicing, it should do something to me. But in the beginning, so I went to this Buddhist temple, which, maybe we can arrange also, because I have temples that I can think you guys, but that would be extra curriculum, extra hours, and we gotta drive here, drive there, but we can talk about that. But maybe, so I went to the Buddhist temple, and they have this most beautiful Buddhas and flowers. It's just like Hinduism, but they're Buddhists. But then you gotta sit for like 4 hours also doing the different Tibetan mantras, and they're all about love and compassion. They're beautiful, but after an hour and a half, where's the bathroom? I just couldn't stay still. Now I can stay still, better. But back in the days, it was. So you can do that walking on the beach, you can sit with it, maybe just do everything, sit for an hour, walk for an hour, and see how you got. But I feel like even if you're walking, it's you're walking and all of a sudden you have people running and the doggy, that's not going to be complete, right? Because it's supposed to be internal, external, and then you're supposed to hold that image of the deity that you're chanting for. Or if you want to be less religious and not go so into images, then maybe hold the energy of that mantra. So if you chant for Hanuman is to become humble, what it means. If you chant Lakshmi, what are you going to see? You're going to see yourself plenty of money, you know, you want a car, you want new, maybe not money, but what can give you money? A new opportunity at work. So visualize yourself getting a promotion, you know, like, okay, it's such good, so we're going to give you, you know, much more money on your salary if you accomplish this. Visualize yourself getting your CD done, your website done. So I would not say like ask for money, right? Because that's like, you know, very materialist. But ask for opportunities to be abundant, you know, ideas, things that you can, you know, grow. So the deity or the intention of that mantra, and you gotta have that concentration, because I also have seen devotees that are like, my guru told me that if I don't do the 16 rounds, I'm not a good devotee, and that's judgmental. They're watching TV doing mantras. What's that good for?
Yeah.
So that, you know, if they lose the purpose, then it becomes religious, it becomes mechanical. It's better to do just 108, full on with your senses, with your heart, with your sex, with your prayers, with your mind, with all of you there, you know? And I think God will appreciate your presence more, again, more quality versus quantity, you know, like that. So that will not define. Okay, any questions about that? That's a little bit of a review, goodness and God's sound. So, but I think one of the most important aspects is that, you know, union of Purusha and Prakriti, huh? Or Bhagavan or Brahma and Maya that we study on philosophy, you know, like our philosophy is here, you know, Vedanta is here, Sankhya is here. That's why it's important to embrace it. Okay, now I have another poster here. I also have a lecture that I'm supposed to do on how to heal yourself naturally. That's a little easier.
You say heal, right?
Yeah. So let's do the easy one, because maybe this is also history. Maybe I leave this for tomorrow. I just want your attention. How's it going? I also want you guys to practice for 15 minutes between each other today on that exercise of talking, blah, blah, blah. So let me just give you this lecture. This is a lecture that goes with the restorative world, because I initially named how to heal yourself naturally, right? How you to heal yourself naturally. But then, Yoga Alliance doesn't allow us to use the word heal, because we're not doctors. Unless you have an MD degree, then you can. So instead of saying heal yourself, you can say how to promote wellness naturally, how to be in harmony and wellness in a holistic way. Well, I don't know how you're going to name it, but name it whatever you like. I have given this lecture in like Chamber of Commerce, in a school, in hotels. Sometimes they're going to ask you to, you know, give a lecture as a coach, as a holistic coach. So you can take this lecture and upgrade if you like, but you know, actually everyone loves it and it's very popular. Let me maybe stop this video, let's wash your hands and then continue. That way I have different No, no. Careful your hair.